kind of hard to be optimistic when your homie's lying dead on the pavement twisted. Y'all don't hear me though. I'm trying hard to make amends, but I'm losing all my mother effing friends. How long will they mourn me? Hip hop gets your attention, doesn't it? Loud, brash, out the box, strong language. For many of us, a stereotype exists of hip hop, of what it is, the commercialization of it. Hip hop is used to sell everything from pants to fish to hamburgers. It's everywhere. But I would say that a lot of times we don't understand what hip hop is. Sure, I get it. We see some of these artists, if you will, that come about. Well, yeah, they're there. They make money. And we cannot deny the fact and the reality that there are people out there in it just to make money. It's an entertainment, right? It's an entertainment business. When you think about hip hop, you think oftentimes of black men with sagging pants and people wanting to tell them to pick those pants up, and people thinking about sex and alcohol and everything. Again, this is part of the culture. We cannot deny it. But I want to point something different to you today about hip hop and what it is, where it comes from. See, I'm not talking about those artists. I'm talking about the Lauryn Hills. Talking about an artist like Lauryn who went out and said, I want to talk about depression and I want to talk about things in a way I'm going to record this entire album with teenagers at a high school. And we're going to connect, we're going to talk about suicide. We're going to talk about how that reaches and touches and affects people of color, particularly in the African American community. Oh, I'm also talking about Brother Tupac Amaru Shakur, who even to this day you have young people who weren't even around when he was alive who know exactly who this brother is. I'm also talking about your boy Chance. You know who he is. Everybody does, right? But his story is different. You think about the old story of a person coming from the, well, yeah, but Chance's parents are together, they love him, they come to concerts. Some interesting things going on with Chance. I'm also even talking about Kanye. I know, but 2003 to 2005, get it straight. I'm talking about your boy Kendrick Lamar, who is the post-soul rapper who connects with life and death. Just look at his Section 80 album cover, and on that you have the sacred with a Bible. You have the profane, right, with an actual gun, bullets. And you also have the secular there, right, with the aspect of a condom in the corner with some weed. All those elements, all those areas are exactly where we need to engage with. Hip-hop, see, is an urban subculture that seeks to express a lifestyle, attitude, and/or urban individuality. Hip-hop at its core seeks to push past the commercialization and get at the elements and the foundation elements of understanding what life is to be, the elements of the earth, the ground, the wind, the air, our communities. See, we're at a generation now that has been raised in a completely different way than most of us in this room. See, I still remember a time when you could pull over and actually put a dime into a payphone. Well, those born after the year 2000 don't know anything about that. This is a generation raised on likes and followers. This is a generation raised in post-9/11 America. This is a completely different America than it was in the 1990s and 1980s. This is a generation raised in the post-era of the Reagan crack cocaine era. This is a generation raised in the seat, in the womb of media and media culture. This is not the same generation that we had 20, 30, 40 years ago. This is a generation that lives, breathes, and dies and dines with technology. And so we must begin to understand these things because hip-hop is a vehicle of social, cultural, and political resistance to dominant structures of norms. It begins to validate the actual existence of the ghetto poor reality as real and actually about something. And that I cannot be ignored simply because I don't have the money to get all the followers that I have. Hip-hop is about consciousness, self-awareness, community, coming together with spirituality and community, which when you think about it, somebody wake me, I'm dreaming. I started as a seed of semen, swimming up street, planted in the womb while screaming. On the top was my pop, my mama screaming stop. From a single drop, this is what they got? Not to disrespect my papa, but my papa was a loser. All he had for plans for mama was the effer and abuser. That is a profound socio-theological analysis of prevailing forms of oppression that so many of our young people are steeped and engaged with right now. And so this spirituality begins to push past the four church walls and asks, where is unity in that? Where is unity in the profane? That's what Kendrick is asking. How do we love of God, and how do we love self, and how do we love others in that? Let me show you some examples of some of this practical application of hip-hop being used today. A good friend of mine, Kayron Valentine, he is out in Southern California, put together a curriculum that's now being used in the California school district throughout the state. It is a curriculum designed to help young people begin to deal with PTSD, stress, depression. It is a curriculum also designed to engage with young people who are also locked up and also coming out of the incarceration. Kayron Valentine, live above the hype. It's part of what he's doing. He's engaging. He's taking it because young people and people who engage with aspects of hip-hop culture can identify with. What else? Well, we have one of the baddest hip-hop churches in the country, y'all, right here in Chicago. Pastor Phil Jackson runs the Firehouse Community Center, right out in the Lawndale community. If you haven't been, you got to come, because that is the place where hip-hop is not just being used as candy to attract youth, but it's actually the vehicle. It's the soul and the core of what's happening in that organization. It is being connected. It is being engaged. It is being embraced. And then you have my girl, Dr. Najiba Saeed, professor at Claremont University out in Southern California, a Muslim American woman who strives for peace and understanding while engaging with aspects of conflict. But doing all that, she uses the vehicle of hip-hop. She engages young people. She walks with young people, but not just them, emerging adults, 20 and 25-year-olds. So many of our young people are dislocated. They're like a planet out of orbit because so many of the past generation has been disconnected from this generation, and Najiba is trying to make those connections. At the end of the day, Dr. Ebony Utley in her book, Rap and Religion, says gangsters respect Jesus because they see the parallels between his life and theirs. And when we begin to look at hip-hop, we must begin to actually engage with that spirituality and to better understand what is happening in our society and also within ourselves. And so I leave you with the question, how do you really understand your neighbor? How do you really understand what is going on with them? How do we begin to engage this generation in this culture? I would make the argument that hip-hop provides the space, the venue, the context, and the freedom to create a space for post-civil rights young adults. It is within hip-hop that we are going to begin to see a new future. Thank you very much.